Have you ever stared at the shifting shadows of a franchise's past and wondered if the true story was hiding in plain sight, just beyond the glare of the spotlight? What if the echoes of a once gilded partnership aren't just whispers of nostalgia but the drumbeats of a storm about to break over the bay? Could the very essence of what made Golden State legendary be on the precipice of rebirth? Or is what's coming merely an illusion hiding behind the curtain of what we thought we knew? Welcome, Warriors fans, to Warriors News Fan Report, your #1 destination for everything Dub Nation. Smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring that bell so you never miss a second of this saga. Because what we're about to dive into isn't just another trade rumor or off-season speculation. This feels like a seismic rift shaking the very foundation of the Splash Brothers' legacy. Imagine a scenario that reads like a page torn from a Hollywood script. The prodigal sharpshooter, the man who once etched his name alongside Curry and Green as the heartbeat of a dynasty, now becoming the center of whispers that could upend the NBA landscape and the Warriors' locker room vibe in ways nobody saw coming. Could this mean the echoes of Splash might be heard once again in the Bay Area? Some insiders whisper that a reunion, long deemed improbable, might finally be on the horizon, a resurrection not just driven by stats or contract numbers, but by a profound emotional complexion stitching together fractured legacies. Is it possible that the man who walked away in 2024 with the Mavericks, averaging a modest 14 points per game and shooting 39.1% from beyond the arc, in a markedly different role, is no longer content to be a mere footnote on the West Coast ledger? Does the history of Run TMC's explosive chemistry hint at what could blossom anew, even as age and injury dim the brightest lights? And what of the fan base, endlessly loyal but bruised, still mesmerized by that unforgettable splash heard round the league? They have never fully turned the page. Let's talk numbers real quick. While Stephen Curry, age 36, continues to defy Father Time with efficient shooting splits hovering near 44% from three-point range and staggering usage stats that still make defenses tremble, and Draymond Green, 34, remains the defensive anchor with elite steal and block rates. It's the whisper of a diminished but still potent presence, a sixth-man model, rumored to be floated during contract talks, that's drawing the deepest intrigue. The man in question, often shadowed by the near-mythic status of his Splash Brothers cohort, faced a declining role with Golden State, a conflict compounded by contract complexities that left him feeling miserable, to use the words of insiders close to him. Some say the front office's reluctance to offer him anything akin to the lucrative 4-year deal signed by Green deepened a rift that was as much about respect as it was about basketball. Social media erupted last November when, during his emotive return to the Chase Center wearing opposing colors, Klay received an ovation that spoke volumes, part reverence, part heartbreak. The heartfelt response to his bulldog Rocco's passing just months later further illustrated that the Warriors and their fans' love for Thompson has never waned. Despite all the bitterness and business decisions, could a reunion not only heal those wounds, but also rekindle the unique spark resembling the fiercest days of the Splash era? The Warriors' identity has always been about honoring legends, but could this be the year they rewrite the narrative to include one more chapter? Or is the ghost of those contract negotiations and perceived slights too heavy a burden to be lifted easily or at all? Imagine the locker room chemistry, a lineup featuring the dynamic Curry, the orchestrating Green, and the returning Thompson, who might slot into a sixth-man role, reminiscent of the way TMC electrified crowds before injuries and fate took their toll. Dub Nation has been dreaming about such a scenario for years, and the buzz on forums, podcasts, and fan pages is reaching a fever pitch, mixing hope with skepticism. Could this be the Warriors' version of a phoenix rising, a team embracing its past glory while fighting to remain relevant in an ever-evolving league? Or are we chasing shadows of a glory that's past, caught between reverence for a legend and the cold reality of competition? But the questions remain. Is a reunion really feasible given the emotional and contractual baggage? Would the Warriors front office risk reopening old wounds for perhaps a diluted version of the Klay we once knew? And most compellingly, is Thompson himself truly ready to come home, to embrace a role smaller than the one that once defined him, all for the love of the jersey and the fans? Could this be the redemption arc that Dub Nation has been craving, where personal pride and collective legacy align for one last thunderous splash heard across Chase Center? But what do you think about all of this? Personally, as a ride-or-die member of Dub Nation, I believe the Warriors bringing Klay Thompson back, whether as a mentor A sharpshooting spark off the bench, or a symbolic figure to bridge eras could be exactly the emotional jolt the franchise needs. The talent, the history, and more importantly, the connection with the fans still exists in a way that can't be replicated with any new recruit. The question is whether the chapters still, left to right, will be about healing, glory, or heartbreak. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. If you're feeling that surge charging through your veins, that unstoppable electricity pulsing through every fiber of Dub Nation, then smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring that bell like there's no tomorrow. Because this is the moment when legends could be reborn and the Bay's basketball heartbeat could explode back into a frenzy that rivals the dynasty's peak. Now, imagine the seismic shockwaves this rumored reunion could send crashing through every corner of the Warriors ecosystem. Steph Curry, still the maestro at 36, continues to shatter NBA records like shards of glass underfoot. His lethal combination of gravity-defying triples, clever handles, and audacious ball handling that defies his age remains the engine driving Golden State's relentless offense. But what if alongside him rises a revitalized Klay Thompson, the sharpshooter, whose rifle-like precision once demoralized entire defenses, and who last season played with a bittersweet mixture of nostalgia and grit for Dallas? Could this pairing reform the dreaded Splash Brothers duo into something even more terrifying? There's a chemistry alchemy at stake here. The intangible spark that once powered Golden State to 3 titles in 4 years, and then 2 more to coronate the dynasty at 5 rings and 8 seasons of blend poise and explosive devotion. Yet, under the surface of this fantasy lurks a labyrinth of tough questions. Draymond Green, the heart and soul who anchors the defense with his ferocious intensity and visionary passing, has been the vocal fulcrum since the splashes began. What does his evolving role look like if a new old piece slides back into place? Well, Green embraced this potential shift, adapting their dynamic from the fiery pick-and-roll king and defensive chaos coordinator into a trio that recalibrates the Warriors' blueprint. And don't forget the electrifying young core Jonathan Kuminga, the explosive athletic phenom Nico Mannion's crafty playmaking, and the sharpshooting concerned Dieter Pajimski and Moses Moody, both hungry to prove their worth. How do their minutes get carved up when Klay, even in a reduced role, demands the ball and attention that he used to command? Chemistry could erupt like fireworks over the Bay Bridge or slip into fault lines, risking a locker room fracture instead of fusion. This strategic chess game holds as much drama off the court as on, pitting the wisdom of seasoned veterans against the raw hunger of youth eager to stake their claim, all under the bright, unforgiving lights of Chase Center's gleaming hardwood. Now let's tether this swirling possibility to cold hard facts. The DNA of this franchise's backbone, Curry's 44% shooting from deep at age 36, isn't merely impressive, it's defiant. When you consider that Stevens' usage rate continues to hover near the highest in the league, that his scoring averages ripple just under 30 points per game, it underlines a relentless efficiency, rare for any star, let alone one deep into his career twilight. Wiggins, too, carved a niche as the silky Dwayne Warrior, blending lockdown defense with smooth attacking moves that helped Golden State's strategy thrive in tight playoff battles. His steal-to-turnover ratio, a hallmark of stability and excellence. Poole emerged not just as a sixth man, but a scoring force in his own right, boasting an offensive explosion that kept defenses guessing and energized that vital second unit. And all this unfolds against the backdrop of the West's ever-changing balance of power. Phoenix's relentless shuffling with star acquisitions, Denver's unpredictable but electrifying Nuggets led by Jokic, and the Lakers' perennial pursuit of resurgence all add layers of intense competition. Leaks from Roy and Shum's whisper about the front office's delicate dance between honoring legacy and chasing fresh glory, while Andre Iguodala's locker room recountings from past playoffs hint at the chemistry's fragile magic and toxic friction coexisting in the same breath. And it all converges at the energy-charged bar rooms lining Telegraph Avenue, where the daily grind meets fiery debates and the booms reverberate as loudly as the roars. When a Curry three-pointer splashes off the Bay Bridge into the harbor below Golden, shots flowing from the heart of the city into its soul, this isn't just basketball. It's a symphony of passion, history, and hope that transcends stats and scripts. The climax builds relentlessly. What if this return is more than just numbers or nostalgia? Could it be the phoenix rising from ashes of uncertainty, the moment when the Warriors not only chase a sixth ring, but reclaim the essence that made them untouchable? Yet the stakes are colossal, bringing Klay back in a role smaller than his prime, might mean renegotiating egos, rebalancing minutes, and squaring the emotional ledger that time and business dealings have complicated. Will the man who once soaked in the roar of packed arenas into his very bones accept the shadows of bench minutes with grace, fueled purely by heart and love for the jersey? Or will the old wounds of contract disputes and diminished roles reopen, leaving scars not just on Thompson's legacy, but on a team that has fought against the erosion age? And expectations? Could the Warriors front office, with Bob Myers and Kerr at the helm, wield the delicate touch necessary to craft a cohesive unit led by a trio of Curry, Green, and Thompson that respects the past and embraces future horizons and still finds room to nurture the bright young guns eager for their moment in the spotlight? Or might this move fracture the locker room, throwing a carefully constructed dynasty into disarray? The final stretch pushes us to this electrifying precipice. Will the Chase Center, a sanctuary of past triumphs and present battles, explode into a new era of dominance or crack under the weight of resurging ghosts? Will the next thunderous splash be the one that silences doubters and reignites a dynasty's fire? Or will this audacious gambit be remembered as the moment the Warriors gambled on sentiment and paid the price? As the buzzing fury of speculation swirls around us, the raw truth for all fans is that what comes next will define legacies, ignite passions, and etch new stories above the rim and beyond tales of redemption, glory, and relentless pursuit. Personally, as a ride-or-die member of Dub Nation who's lived every high and low with this roller coaster franchise, I believe the Warriors bringing Klay Thompson back into the fold, whether as a mentor, a sharpshooter, ink spark off the bench, or the emotional bridge between thrilling eras, could be the electric jolt this team so desperately needs. The talent remains undeniable, the bond between Klay and the fans unbreakable, and the history between these Warriors a foundation on which to build an exhilarating final act. This isn't just nostalgia, it's a chance to heal, to fight, and to shine brighter than ever before rekindling a fire that the Bay Area knows all too well. So, does Dub Nation believe? Do you feel the crackling surge that this reunion could spark? If so, hit that like button. Drop your thoughts below so we can battle it out in the comments. And stay locked right here with Warriors News Fan Report, because this is just the tremor before the quake, the whisper before the storm, and one thing's for certain: the next chapter in Golden State history is about to be written in flames. And you don't want to miss a second of that roar. But this is our moment to hold our breath and watch as the blueprint unfolds. So if your heart's pounding with the electricity crashing through the bay, smash that like button, flood the comments with your hottest takes, and stay dialed into Warriors News Fan Report, because the saga of Golden State's next great chapter is just beginning, and you know we'll be there for every slam dunk, every buzzer beater, and every moment where the Splash Brothers, united by blood and fire, remind the world why the Bay is basketball's brightest beacon.